Good afternoon and welcome to class 19 of Art for the Ageless. And today we're going to work with color blending, and we are also going to do some watercolor basics. Okay, I want to explain the tools first. Everyone has their large jar of water, and you have three paints, which if they have a little snapper lid, so if you push against them and open it up, this is your tube paint. These are the primary colors, blue, yellow, and red, and we'll be using these today to blend with. Sarah, you know what I did forget to do? First I want to thank my volunteers and our camera crew, Sean and Sarah, and especially the volunteer Lena who made up the name tags. Sarah, I left the violet paint, which is liquid watercolor, on the counter. If you would put one tiny drop in each, and I mean one tiny drop because it's very intense, in their palette. Okay, these are your palettes. This is where you're going to mix your colors. And I must remind you that, I just went black, that these colors are also very intense. To show you the tubes, they come from these tubes, and if you're further interested, you can buy these tubes online, a whole set of basic 8, less than $10. So anyway, good job. Also, you'll find that you have a little cup of salt, just ordinary low sodium table salt, and we're going to be using that for one of our methods. A lid, I'll show you what that's good for in a minute. Toweling, and of course you're going to be using the toweling a lot to blot your work. And this is a test sample strip, so that if you want to test to see what shade you are getting, so you don't get too intense, because I'm warning you, even a slight touch on this paint will produce a very dark, intense color. So let's say that light is better than dark, and in all watercolor we start with light and then layer it and get to the dark. All right, so that's the progression of our work. All right, let's look at our brushes for a minute. We have the very large 12, which we'll use to do a wash. We have the next one, which is an 8, which we'll use a lot to do for our flower. And this is my professional 8 that I'm used to. And the next one is a number 4. So your little one is about, I would say, it's about a number 2. So that's good for doing stems and small leaves. These are ponytail brushes, animal hair, and the good ones are made of sable. All right, so it depends on what you want to buy. Okay, let's see. The watercolor paper that we're going to be using is 140 pound. I did mark the other side so you would not paint on that side. So you notice there's a little bit more texture on the plain side. And of course, your palette, or not your palette, I'm sorry, your board and your clamp. So when you do this, you're going to be clamping down on one side, like so, and flatten out the other side. Okay, but do not flatten this one because that will limit your space. Okay, I think we've just about covered everything. Let's get into it. All right, in all basic watercolors, we have the primary colors. By the way, How many of you know your primary colors and the blending and so on? Have been exposed to that? 2, okay, 3, good. That's because you were in my class, yes. Okay, so we have our red and a yellow, which combined will make an orange. A blue and a yellow combined to make our green. And of course, the red and the blue combined to make the purple. Our warm colors are the red, orange, and the yellow. And our cool colors are the blue, green, and the purple. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this, but I do want you to get the experience of blending the colors and at the same time learning some watercolor basics. So we're going to start off by taking our lid and taking our number 8 paintbrush, and what we're going to do is to dip it into, and I'm going to hold this, dip the tip of it into your blue.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I can't really see. Are you using the middle brush?
Yes, it'll say 8 on it. Would you like to move up a space?
I was thinking about that earlier.
Yeah.
I think I need to because I just had cataract surgery, so my eyes are a little blurry.
Well, please do. If you want also to move up, Helen.
Oh, I'm fine.
You're okay.
I
Okay.
see better at a distance.
Okay. All right. Then put the paint on the palette. Notice how dark this is. Really dark. All right. A little bit of water, just a teeny bit, because what we're going to do with it, notice this please, is you're going to paint the lid, the rim of it. Okay, so here we go. All watercolor artists have little tricks. I have my tricks too. Okay, so I want to make 3 of these. Okay, I want to make 3 circles. Start at the top. 1, press it down good. 2. And 3. Oh, that one didn't come out, so I'm going to do that over again. Back to the palette. There you go. Okay, let's try that again. In fact, maybe I'll go over the middle one more time. Okay, that's good. And good enough. Now I'd like that to dry for a while, okay? So let's just put that to one side. That's okay, you do not have to clean off the lid. Don't worry about it. All right, we're gonna put that to one side because we wanna blend and layer. All right, we're gonna get back to this. We're gonna do that side step, okay? So has everybody finished the 3 circles? Raise your hand if you finished them. Okay, we'll move on. Put it to one side. Take another paper, it's a half sheet. Slip that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a wash. This is what a wash looks like. There are 3 ways you can do this. You can do it wet on dry. We call it wet on dry when your brush is loaded with water and paint and the paper is 100% dry. Then the next one is going to be a wash, in which we are going to lift some of that up, some of the water, and that will produce like a cloud effect. Along with that, we're going to sprinkle. And I have put the salt on your table. So what's going to happen is you're going to wash, lift, and sprinkle. In the last one, we're going to wash, lift, and splatter. And this is the last one. So we're going to make 3. All right, this is how we're going to do it. Whenever you put your brush back down, put it back down on the towel. Take your very large, we'll call it a wash brush. We're going to totally I guess this is a wet on wet. Okay, take that back. This is going to be a wet on wet. Totally wash it. Totally wet down the paper. We'll do the wet on dry later. Okay, this is a wet. It's going to be a wet on wet. Okay, just totally. When you think you've wetted enough. Now remember, this paper is going to buckle a little, but it's okay because when it dries, it'll flatten itself out, so don't worry. And then look at it, you can see it's starting to buckle already. When you finish your picture, of course, you put it under a book or something and flatten it out, and it'll be fine. Okay, now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to take that smaller brush again, my number 8, put it in the water, and I'm just going to touch it a little bit. Now if you want to know what you're doing, just touch it on your test paper just to make sure it's not too dark. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to go in like a zigzag fashion like this, like meandering. Remember, there's going to be a lot of dip, wash, towel, sample. Let's do this again. It's going like this. It's meandering, just like that. Okay? Straight wash. Now, if that bothers you, if it's too dark, there's 2 things you can do. You can take your brush, wet it again, and run it over again to try to lighten the color. Notice how it's starting to blend. It'll start to sink down. Okay. Now I told you how intense that blue was, so you are noticing now how dark that blue is on your paper, some of you. All right, let's take that out. Let's take a second sheet. We're going to do basically the same thing. This is not going to be hard. Okay, slip it in. Are we ready? We're going to do a second wash. Wet your paper. Totally wet it. Okay, this one's going to be a little more fun than the other one. More. When I'm doing it, you'll notice I'm tapping the side of the jar. I can either take the brush and I can smooth it and let the water drip into the jar, or I can just take it and tap it to get the excess water. Of course, if you do the tapping method, you'll get more water. If you do the other, less water. All right, now I'm going to go back to that blue. And very careful. I'm going to do that again. Part of this whole thing is learning to control how much you put on the paper. Oh, this one's going crazy. Okay, good. A little bit more. Oh, that one's dark. Okay. It's okay. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this down for a second, and I'm going to do the next one called lift. So, take a piece of your toweling, just tear it off. Roll it up and dab. Okay, pretend you're making clouds. You don't want a lot of blue there, so we're lifting the water out. You see that? Take the toweling, lift the water out. Nice fluffy clouds. Not satisfied with that? Take a pinch of salt, and we're going to do sprinkle. So we lay the board down, and just what it says. And we're sharing. Okay, we're sharing. We're just on that. Okay. Now, once you have laid the salt down, leave it alone. It needs to dry. And once it's dry, you wipe it off, and you'll get a lovely, like a star effect. I don't know if we can get any close-up on this, Sean. Is it possible to close up right over here? Can you see that? It's like little stars. Oh, no, that's fine. I could see it. Oh, and on the bottom, you can see it also down here. Yeah, so that's the effect. Okay, don't tip it over. We're going to put this to one side. Where are we in this? Have you done your lift? Raise your hand if you have lifted. Good. Raise your hand if you have sprinkled. Good. Okay, let's go on to the third one, the one that I usually do over the sink. Let's do our third one. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to choose one of these for our final picture. So that's why we're preparing the background. Most watercolor artists, if you look at their beautiful flowers, you'll notice the background, because the background is what kind of ties everything together. And this is how they do the background. They just throw everything at it. All right. We're back to doing our wash again. Let's do another wash, the last one. There we go. Nice wash. Back and forth. Notice I'm not doing this. I'm going at an angle, kind of at a diagonal. Okay, at this point, I need you to open the other two. And I need you to take your brush, your smaller brush, and take a little bit of the yellow, probably about this much. I think you can see it without a close-up. And roll it on your palette. Wash it off. Oh, something happened to that water. It turned green. Okay, and then take your red. Same thing. I'm going to use my towel at that point. And I'm going into the little jar, and I'm rolling the tip of the brush like that. And I am going to make my palette. This is very intense, I'm telling you. All right, so Now I think I need to do the wash over again because it's drying out a little. So I'm going to go over it again. And it's okay that maybe you're getting some of the watercolor water because we need to wet it down again. Here we go. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. I'll try to answer them best I can. All right, so notice again, it's curling. In fact, it's curling a lot. Okay, so back again, touching the blue. Okay, here we go. Touch your towel, try to control the amount of paint. Okay, more. I'm doing exactly the same thing I did with paper number 1 and basically paper number 2, but here's the difference. I'm going to dab it just a little bit, not too much, because I want to do something else to it. Now, ordinarily, if I was doing this at home, I would take a strip of masking tape and I would put it on the bottom so that it would keep it flat, okay? We didn't do that today. All right. Okay, here we go. With our number 8, we are going to go into the yellow and we're going to make it very, very loose. We're going to take the brush and hit it on our forefinger, aiming it at the paper. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it may or may not turn out like that.
On the bottom there?
Just straight across. I mean, if you want to fling it like this, you're liable to hit your partner. So let's not do that. Okay, try not to get rowdy this time. You are simply going to hit the forefinger and down, down, down. Not enough. Down, down, down. There, it's, ow, that hurts a little bit there. Okay, so here's the start of it with the yellow. Then I'm going to go in. I want to get a little bit of the red. Be careful, I told you how intense it was. If you doubt me, then touch it on your test paper, and you're going to do the same thing. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Okay, now I notice I'm getting too wet, so I've got to pick some of it up. I may even have to go in and wipe it up because it's getting too much, too wet. I need to do more. Okay, I want to intensify the color.
I hope this comes off the table.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, don't worry. Your neighbor.
Okay. So,
Just don't hit each other.
so long as you're having fun. Okay, here we go. It's a little bit red. Okay, I think I want to do a little more blue, dark blue. What I'm trying to do is I'm splattering because I want to get that background effect. Oh, that one went. Okay, that one went a little crazy, so I need to blot it up. That little piece of toweling coming in handy. Coming in lots, very handy. Okay. All right. So we don't want to be too picky about it. So just kind of wipe the bottom. So let's see. I would like a stronger splatter of blue. So I'm going to go in. Evidently, I've got too much water. So I'm going to get very intense blue, and I'm going to splatter it. Okay, that's better. Okay, now I have a more intense blue. So that's what I want. Do you see? I want to be able to see my background. Let's see. So take a look and see, is it balanced? Okay, the yellow's here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Happy with the blue. The pink, it's okay. It's a little bit up there. I could have a little bit more there, but whatever. All right, let's wash them out. All right, now we're going to put these down. Put this last one to dry. And let's go back to our lesson on blending. Well, you've had quite a ride so far. So we're going to calm down, and for the next maybe 5 minutes, we're just going to quietly talk about blending and layering and lifting. So we're going to use our smaller brush, the number 8, and we are going to put water in that circle. How many are at this point? Are we okay, or did we raise your hand if you're keeping up with this? I hear giggling, so.
There's just a second here, we're almost there.
The mischief is starting. Okay. Oh, there's somebody waiting patiently. Good for you if you're waiting patiently. All right. Why did I say that? Yes, Sarah.
What is this type of paper called that we're using?
140-pound watercolor. Cold press. Don't ask me to explain that. Most artists use a cold press versus hot press. I don't want to get into it. Okay. But the 140-pound, usually I'm using Fabiano and Canson. Okay.
Excuse me, we're just wetting the top circle?
Yeah, we're just doing that. Okay, what I want to do is I want you to take the yellow, and I don't care how intense you get. I want you to paint the whole thing yellow. We are going to blend the red and the yellow simply and get orange. There, see? Okay, this is going to be easy, so just follow along now. Let's get some red, a little bit of red. There we go. And we're just going to make an orange. Very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our toweling and we're going to lift it in the upper left-hand corner. To sort of get a three-dimensional effect. Okay? Then we're going to take our brush again, dab it on your towel, and lift it up with the brush. So whenever you find that you've made a mistake or it's gotten too puddly and you're unhappy, simply take your brush, dry it out as much as possible, and go over the paint. Then if you want to try to round it a little bit more, oh, that got dirty. I cannot emphasize enough that you need to keep washing the brush. You need to keep dipping it, washing it, touching it on the towel. I mean, you know, you just have to do it, that's all. Now, if I want to get more orangey, I'm going to add a little bit more red. So let's take a look at this, okay? I don't like it's too drippy. That means I put too much water in it. What I'm trying to teach you now is controlling the water that you put down and controlling the paint intensity. Not happy? Go back to the yellow and try to balance the color. Okay, getting happier. You're teaching yourself right now. You are teaching your brain to lift and blend. This is an exercise. I think I'll try a little bit more red here. I want you to be able to see what happens. And if you add just a little bit, see what happens. Just keep blending. Well, that's a pretty tune. Okay, I'm going to try my towel again, and I'm going to lift it just a little bit. And then I'm going to blend the edge just a little bit. So you can see that these are the tools that you have, and these are the techniques and skills that you can develop with practice, where you are simply going over and over and over. Now, another thing I can do is I can wait for this to dry, and I can do it again. If you overwork it, it'll show you. So now it's getting a little bit overworked, so I'm going to have to stop and go to the next one. It's getting too wet, it's getting too overworked. For some reason, the color looks funny. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, yellow. I'll probably wait till that gets dry and go back over it again. Yellow. Touch of blue. Excuse me. Sarah, did you give everybody a drop of that violet?
Yes.
Could I have a drop? Sarah thinks I'm just trying to lure her in front of the camera. Well, that's an idea, isn't it, Sarah? Thank you, Mommy to be. Back to the yellow again. Now, whatever, if you got I got too wet on the first one. If you get too wet on the first one, try to control it on the second one. Learn. Just learn. Okay, I think I'm going to go back to yellow here. And then I might go to blue again. Again, take that toweling and lift. Lifting and blending. I would like to improve more on the first one because I don't like the way it came out. So I'm going to run over it with the yellow one more time. Trying not to get so much water. Touch it with the red one more time. Oops. Got that dirty. This is called contamination. I just contaminated the middle one because I did not take the time to wash it. Was not patient. All right, I'm going to run on to the last one because it is most difficult. So I'm going to put some red in it. The important thing isn't, did you make some good-looking circles? That's not important. The important thing is, did you learn something? Did you learn anything? Yes, I found that I'm putting too much water down. I find I'm not controlling this. I need more control. If you see the purple coming through, okay, I got it. I got the purple. I'm going to blot. So far we have done some blending, we've done some layering. This picture over here will show you what happens when you put a secondary color, two secondary colors with a primary. What do I mean? I mean if you take, let's say, a violet, a purple color, and you would put it with the primary color yellow, you're going to get this or you're going to get this. You're going to get brown or you're going to get a neutral gray. So it's called mud, okay? Coffee, mud. So this is what you've got to avoid. Well, how do you avoid it? Is by carefully waiting till the first layer is dry before you apply a second layer. All right, I'm going to stop with this one because I don't want to miss out on us doing the knapweed flower. All right, so let's put this away. Let's take our large sheet. On one side there's an X or some kind of a line that says do not paint here. And let's go to the next phase. I know I'm trying to do a lot today, but we're going to take the flower in 3 steps. We're going to try to layer it with feathering. We're going to score it, which simply means we're going to make an indent, and wherever the indent occurs, the paint will collect in these dark lines, as you can see, and it will cause an effect. And then we are going to stipple, which is taking the brush and just going this way, just like pointillism, not pointillism, but just dabbing it with the tip of the brush. Okay, let's get to our large one, and we're going to do a close-up of the knapweed flower. Hold it this way. We're going to do wet on dry. So what I want you to do is take your number 8 brush and dip it in the water, put some water on your palette, and I am serious, take just a small dot of that purple. Ugh. Test it. Oh wow, too much. Yeah, I'm going to show this to you. All right. We don't want this. This is too dark. We want more of the light. So what you might do is put the wet into it, put it on your sample sheet, and use the paint from the sample sheet. Okay. So this is what I'm going to use. It's just too intense. Now we're going to do 3. So, yeah.
I need another purple dot.
Oh, okay. Who needs another purple dot? Raise your hand. What did you do with the first purple dot? How did the purple dot disappear? Okay. Divide visually 1, 2, 3. And you're going to go at a diagonal. You're going to start here. Remember, your flowers are going to be here. So if we're ready, what we're going to do is we're going to push out, push out, push out, push out, And as you're pushing, you're going to be lifting because it's a feather. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's too broad a stroke. So I'm going to go and get my smaller brush, a teeny tiny brush, a little one. So get your little teeny tiny brush and let's do it again. Okay, better. So push out. What I'm doing now is I got myself a wash, but what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit darker and I'm layering that darker over it. So this is we're feathering, and this is us feathering. Okay. How you doing with the feathering? Take the tiniest brush, the one with the little blue handle, and push out. Okay. The number 6 is not going to give you a good feathering. So you've got to go with the tiny one. And then kick out from the center to the edge. Just kick it out. Every time you do it, you're going to get an impression. All right, we're going to do that again. Number 8. It's so intense. Incredible. Over here, I'm going to push out, letting it stay intense. I'm going to take my tiny brush and I'm going to get more intense. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to touch the blue. I'm going to get blue. And I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to put it into the mix. So there we go. See what I'm doing? I'm overlaying the blue into that violet. Now I'm going to switch my brush around and I am going to do this with the brush. I am attacking the paper. I am indenting it with the tiny brush. And if you will notice, that blue is going right into it. Now I see that it's not coming out on the screen, so I think I'm going to have to lift some of that color out to show you. So I'm going to lift some of the color out. It's going to make the flower a little bit bigger, but that's okay. If you want to get that washed out violet, just simply put water on your brush and only water. Okay. You see it a little bit better now? Can you see that dark blue coming out? Now if you also like, you can take a little dot of the red and you can put that into the mix. Because nothing in nature is one straight color. If you need any more of your original primary colors, be sure you wash your brush before you put it in to take out the primary color. Now you don't have to do the, let's say I have red. I put it over here. I don't have to put it all over the place. Can you lift it for a minute so I can see the progress? Okay, good. 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 Okay. Good. Okay, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take the intensity of the purple and just strike it in the center. Just in the tippy in the center. Because you are adding that variety right in the center. Okay, I'm going to do the last one. I'm going to do the same thing. If I'm going to do the same thing, I think I should just let me just go ahead and do it. Okay, I'm going to skip right to this one. All right, save this one if you're happy with it. If you're not happy, do another one over here. How many people are happy with their flower? How many people want to do another one? Okay, let's do another one real quick then. Okay, here we go. This time I shouldn't be doing that. I should use my number 8. I like the violet color. Somebody put too much paint on it. Okay. See what happens when you're rushing? So anyway, the nicest thing is to have all this layering going on. I mean, it's just beautiful. Again, and put the blue over here. Too wet, too wet. Okay, that means you've got to score. So I'm going to score now because I notice when it's wet like that, that's the best time to do your scoring because that color will go right into those little marks. See that? Right into it. Love it. Okay, a little bit darker at the very center. Because that's the artistic thing. Teeny bit. Okay, teeny bit. Oh, that one's spreading like wildfire. That's all right, work with it. If something is spreading, then just take your teeny tiniest brush and work it straight out.
What size brush are you using for scoring?
The other end of the smallest one, which is about a number 2. Brushes will go down to number 0. You can get anything from a 0 straight up to a big fat one. So, yeah, if you score it on the other side of that tiny brush. All right, now I'm going to use the tiny brush. And I am going to use my yellow. And I am going to do the stipple, which means I am just going to make this part. This part of the knapweed is like, I don't know, it's kind of shaped like a pineapple, actually. By the way, if you see some white, don't try to fill it in. I mean, why would you? Don't try to fill it in. Leave it alone. So if I have my yellow and I put my blue over it, of course I'm going to get my green. When you stipple it, that white is artistic. And then with your little one, you make your stem. I don't care. I'm almost out of my blue. Okay. So I'm going to put a little extra blue here and down. Now with the knapweed flower, Actually, it's a noxious weed. The leaves go up a little like this. So I need to make maybe like a nice green color. Does it all have to look the same? Nah. Now I notice my leaves are they're too thin, so I've got to jump back to my number 8 brush, and I've got to fix it. I'm going to mix my yellow and my green again. So, okay, I needed a thicker leaf. Now, if you want to go back and dabble a little more darkness on the edge, that's good. And if you want to put a little bit more blue or darkness, that's good. I think, okay, I'll probably go 5 minutes beyond, but we have 10 minutes to do a very small composition. Would you hold yours up so I can see how the progress is coming? Okay, good. With very nice, good. More feathering. The way you get your feathering is you strike this way from the center. Okay, strike. It's like a firecracker, just like that explodes. Okay. Pick your brush up when you're getting to the edge. Let it fly off the paper. Nobody's going to get hurt. So when you come to the end of something, don't go this way. Go this way. Pick your brush up. Let it fly. Okay? Just go whoop like that. Whoop, whoop. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Okay? Just go flying. Try that. Right? Okay. Can I see the back for a minute? Back, people in the back? Yeah. See just a minute. Okay, good. More flying. Good. When you fly with a darker color, remember you've got soft, light, medium color, hard color. Scoring, that dark color will go into the lines and it will promote that whole technique, that whole effect. People have been doing this for hundreds of years. Experiment. Okay. I would like to make a small composition with you before we finish off. So we've learned a lot today. And we're going to go ahead. The difference is I used more blue here. I got more of a highlight here. All right, you can compare your work. This one was done, I was attempting to do dandelions. That was my next project. Ooh, didn't work out, but this one, well, it's okay. When you do groupings for a composition, the 3-2 number is good. Like when we do the sumi, we say, okay, we'll have either 3 leaves or 2 leaves. Over here, if you want to do a composition, try to make it so there is some kind of a diagonal. Okay, it's just another artist trick to force your eye the way I want it to go. Try to be added to some kind of a diagonal. So there's a grouping of 3, and then one is higher than the other. So you're trying to stagger, and then maybe a little one down here. With these, it was just a group of 3, but it still had a nice flow. Okay, let's choose what you want to do your composition. So these are dry. So I'm not going to do the plain wash one. Take your center one, the one you had the salt on, and you don't mind salt on the floor, do you, Sean? Nah, he loves it. It's good for the floor. Okay, just take the salt and take a really close look at what you did, the salt effects. Nice, huh? Oh, yeah. Okay. Whee. Okay, what we're looking for is that star effect. Like, you know. Okay, so. Kind of blurry. Oh, Sean is trying to get a close. I think that's kind of hard. Yeah, okay, there you go. That's the effect. Your salt, it's dried, I brushed it off, and that's a nice effect. Now, the other one is the one where we sprinkled, and so you need to choose. What are you going to do your composition on? Are you going to do it on the one with the sprinkle or the one with the salt? I'll let you choose. I'm going to do it on this one because I think I can make a bigger mess. So, okay, so let's get started. We have just enough time. So we have a dry piece of paper. We are going to do the same thing we did here, but on that one we are going to try for a diagonal going this way, and then 1 and 1. So if you're doing it on this, let's do it by plotting it out. And how we're going to plot it out was going to take a little bit of the blue, very lightly, and I'm going to, what we do is kind of either do it with your hand, you can do it with your hand, take your fingers, say, okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, I'm going to say 1. So right over here, I'm going to, oh, it's too dark. I'm going to do just a little. So, okay, I think the second one is going to be about here, about toward the middle. So I'm going to just put a light here. The other one's going to be down here. So just kind of map it out. So I'm going to map this one out here. And this one should be up here, just a little one. So don't make them all the same size. Okay. All right, so map it out. If you want to, now I'm using my little tiny brush. If you want to, you could just flip in where you think you want the stems to be, but you're not quite sure. Not quite sure. All right, so I'm going to start with my purple. Were you okay? Did you map it out? All right, let's start the same way. That one's too dark. By doing our feathering. And if you want to mix it up, mix up your violet with your blue so that you have a variety, go ahead, do that. And again, if you want to score it right away, well, that didn't work because I didn't have enough water. Okay. So go ahead. You've got all your tools. Remember that you're going to do your light first. And sometimes it'll be violet, and sometimes it won't. Because mixing up the colors and providing variety is sometimes the best thing to do. Because you can always go over it and over it again. Now that you know how to lift the water from the paint, you can go ahead, do whatever you want. All right, go ahead, have fun with it, and let's look at the time. Well, I guess about maybe 5 to 7 minutes. If you're running out of the violet, then just mix your blue and your red. Remember, if you want that scoring, it needs to be wet. If you need more paint, be sure that you clean your brush thoroughly before you go back in. Okay, I'm getting really dark here. How many of you have a little paint set at home? Okay, good, good. Because I want you to practice doing this exercise again. First time is not good enough. Third time, okay, maybe. And you're not just painting a bunch of flowers. You're learning. And whatever you learn, you can bring in to your next project. Oh, another thing too, again, stipple, stipple, stipple. You can spend a half an hour doing this. I mean, this could just take scads of time. Oh, another thing too, if you want to do like a little bit of grass down here, just take some of the color, put it down wet, and then take the other end and stipple it going up. I'm running out of paint. Okay, here we go. Try to get kind of the grass effect by just going this way. notice that my leaves definitely, I have to use a thicker brush because that smaller brush is not going to work on those leaves. And it's okay if your leaves are blue, doesn't make any difference. At this point, you can put in more detail. If you want to add more flowers, do whatever you want. And of course, and you can make them darker if you want, and fluffier and fatter. You can add more color. And if you feel as though you want to add more to the background, just simply stipple it on with a wet brush. And even if you feel that you want to throw things at it, be my guest. You can still splatter. Feel free, enjoy yourself. After all, what is this all about? Having a good time. Your work is very nice. It can be used to surprise your friends. Make a birthday card with one of your paintings on it. I think it'll make them very happy. Frame it. Practice some more. Just keep doing them. I like this flower very much. It offered a variety of colors and an endless lesson on just how to do it. So with that, one last pinch of salt, and it's completed. Would you like to share with me what you have done today? Someone is back there furiously splattering. She is having the time of her life. Good for you. Good for you. They're too busy to share. Y'all gonna share it all? They're just smiling at me. They're not gonna share anything. Oh, come on. Raise your hand if you wouldn't mind if Sean came by and looked at your work. Raise your hand if you're not too shy. Very pretty. Lovely spring cards. Oh, beautiful. The knapweed flower lives again. Well, thank you so much for coming today. And I just want to give another shout out to our friends in the United Kingdom for joining us. Next week we are going to do solar photography. Please don't forget to get your solar paper and look in the garage to see if there's something you'd like to take a photograph of, or grab some leaves and flowers outside, or go through your drawer and see if you'd like to make a print of some of your necklaces and so on. Keys, coins, lace. I did a lace one the other day, and that was great. It only takes 5 minutes out in the sun and 1 minute dipped in the water. I'll provide all the paper next week, and this is cyanotype sun-sensitive paper. So join us next week for a fun time, It's going to be an outdoorsy thing. So bring your sun hat, and we'll just be going back and forth. And we'll be in a dark room, too.
Did you
Okay.
say that we have to bring some kind of solar paper?
No, I'm going to provide the solar paper. The thing, and the reason why I switched the lessons is I want you to personalize it and bring something that's personal to you to photograph. And if you have a negative at home, we can turn it into a positive in this classroom.
So you want us to get print out a 5x7 and bring it with us? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm going to have the print paper. I am going to have all the photography paper. What I want you to bring are objects. Last time someone brought a plate that you could see actually the bird and the details because the light could go through it. The light will pick up any of the images in fine detail. So any other questions on next week's lesson?
About how much time we spend outside?
5 minutes. But you don't have, if you're sun sensitive, you can just put it outside and come back in for the 5 minutes, okay? So we're not going to leave anybody out there. If the wind is very, very bad, I have some acrylic plate that can be put over some of them. So I'm going to do some small plates and some larger plates. I've never done the larger plates before, so it's going to be interesting. Bring your stuff, okay? All right, again, thank you to the camera crew, Sean and Sarah, for helping me, and thank you, ACC, for inviting us back again to this art class. Okay, thank you. Bye.